What's up guys, Kennedy here. This is our Kennedy killer and we're gonna use it for our tutorial on how to adjust the rear derailleur. You've been asking me about it and I decided to make like all-in-one tutorial on how to do it on 1x10 or 1x anything drivetrain. And then another episode will be about adjusting front derailleur on and rear derailleur on 2x or 3x anything drivetrain. Why is it so? Because 1x drivetrain is kind of special. It does make different sounds. There is different chain line on this one, and the derailleur can behave differently. So this is 1x10, and you can use this tutorial for 1x9, 1x11, 1x12 as well. First of all, what we're gonna use in order to adjust our derailleur. I'm gonna start with these screws on the derailleur that probably you would not have to use if the bike was already assembled, like stock assembled and adjusted. That's the B screw. By using this one, we are adjusting the distance between the upper pulley and the cogs, so the derailleur will go up and down. And those two are the limiting screws. The upper one will limit the travel of our derailleur to the right, so it will avoid chain drop between the frame and the cassette, very bad one. And the lower screw will avoid chain drop between cassette and the spokes. Super problematic, can even cause breaking the spokes. So we do want to make sure those two limiting screws are on their place. Now the last one I'm going to tell you about now is the most important one, and that's the screw that will adjust the tension on our cable, thus indexing our derailleur. As you can't see, we don't have the barrel adjuster here on the derailleur. This is Shimano Z, but on different models, on different derailleurs, you may find this one just here at the end of the last part of the housing. Right here. I don't have it here, but I have it on my shifter. The shifter, that's the Derailleur shifter, and that's the barrel adjuster. So I'm gonna use that one. How does this barrel adjuster work? Now this is the shifter, right? Upshifting, downshifting, and that's the barrel adjuster. The housing comes into this dial, and when I'm unscrewing it, you're gonna see some cable stop being pushed away, right? And while the cable stop is pushing also against the housing, it makes a longer way for the cable to go between the shifter and the derailleur, thus putting more tension on the cable. So this one will help us going up the cassette, and when I'm screwing it in, it will help us downshifting or going down the cassette. To clear what I'm talking about, I'm calling upshifting going from the highest gear to the lower, because I'm going up the cassette, and downshift going down the cassette from the lower to the higher or more or faster gears, right? So I've done some disadjustment on this drivetrain so that we have something to work on, and it will be quite easy. If you want your derailleur to work just properly, it's super easy. If you want it to be tuned up very, very good, it can be a bit more tricky. But I'm gonna tell you those rules that we have to follow, and then you're gonna be doing it for yourself. First of all, we're gonna just listen to the drivetrain and see how the chain behaves while I'm going up the cassette, upshifting. So going from 10th to 9th seems quite okay. Some little clicking here. 8th, some more clicking. 7th, even more noise. And when you're listening to this noise, it's important to try to find out whether the chain is rubbing against those cogs on the left or on the right side. Now we can see that actually the chain pushes against those bigger sprocket, meaning that we would probably have too much of a tension on our cable. So let's just go up the cassette. because the derailleur will behave differently on different gears. Yeah, the chain really wants to go up, making this noise. Now it will just shift almost by itself. It's really possible that it would shift by itself. Now it goes just 2 sprockets while I was shifting just 1 up. So what we are assuming here is that we have way too much cable tension, and that's right, because I changed it. So what I'm gonna do on my shifter, I'm gonna screw the barrel adjuster in. This dial goes in, thus loosening the tension on our cable. So I'm just trying to do it like maybe like 1/4 or 2/4. All right, it goes down. Let's just see what's changed. As you can see, this chain doesn't want to go down so much. Let me show you. When the chain tries to, as you can see, when it wants to stand up on the sprocket, that would mean you have still a bit too much of a cable tension, because the chain should already down here be on the lower, or smaller cog, and it should look just like that from the beginning of the shifting. But let's just go down the cassette. It jumps down. It should be jumping like this. Okay, and let's loosen the tension a bit more, maybe just like that. Okay, and let's go back up. It looks and sounds better. All right. So it is quite okay. One thing about the limiting screws, how to adjust them if you want to check them out. I'm on the largest sprocket now, and I'm just pushing with my fingers, trying to figure out whether the derailleur will still move further to the wheel. And I can see that it really does move. So if I pull the cable a bit more, I would just discover some chain drop, and that could be really disaster for my wheels. So I'm gonna take my tool, and the lower bolt is being screwed in or bolt in. Let's just see how it looks like. Maybe a bit more, because I really did change it like a lot. Okay. Now my derailleur doesn't move anymore, but I'm gonna try whether I haven't changed the shifting performance from the second to the first gear. I think it hesitates just a bit. Yeah, so I will maybe unscrew this this screw just a little bit, like 1/8 of a turn. Looks much better now. So let's just go and downshift. As you can see now, the chain doesn't want to stand up so much on the sprockets. It's just it goes straight to the smaller sprocket, and then the shifting is much more crisp. It's much better right now. Yeah, this one wants to jump a little bit. You've seen that. So let's just, I'm gonna show you even how little of a turn I'm doing now. Maybe that little, not more. Because what I'm doing now, I'm really just tuning it up. So as you can see, it's not really complicated, but now let me just give you some more advice. So we know that by unscrewing the barrel adjuster, we are putting less tension, we are loosening the tension on the cable, thus helping the derailleur shifting down the cassette or from the larger to the smaller cogs. When we are unscrewing it, we are putting more tension on the cable, thus helping the derailleur going up the cassette or from the smaller to the larger cogs. That's it. Now, if you are done with this like basic adjustment, now you can tune it up, checking whether the chain is working very nice on all the sprockets. If it doesn't, just focus on the place. You would probably find some spot on any drivetrain that is not that good as others, and you have to focus on this one. It may not be perfect as other places, but just make sure it's just as good as it can be. So that's it. We have fixed the limiting screw. Same with the limiting screw on the smaller cog. Let's just try this one. Okay, I can see that my cable is already loosened and the derailleur is exactly in line. I'm gonna show you that because some people say different things about it. Okay, so my upper pulley is in line with the chain. Some bike mechanics would tell you that you want to have this derailleur a bit further down. I disagree with that because I don't want my pulley to be rubbing against the chain. I want my pulley to be in line with this chain. And when the housing, when the cables are clean, it's just fine. There's no problem shifting down from the like 9th to 10th gear here. Now it can be different for different chains because some chains are more flexy, some chains are less flexy, and if you have still some problems shifting down from the in this case 9th to 10th gear or 11th to 12th or 10th to 11th, you may want to unscrew this limiting screw just a bit more. If the tension on the cable is already good, you can try to unscrew it a bit more. Maybe you have some more or less flexy chain. So that's something you want to bear in mind. Now, what about this B screw I just showed you and did nothing with it? Let's just go for the first gear. Okay, right, we are here, and this is especially something about 1x drivetrain. All right, no other drivetrain will give you such noise as 1x10. Now I'm pretty happy with the sound of this one. But you will probably notice that the drivetrain is quite stiff. It's much stiffer than any other drivetrain, and sometimes when you speed it to the back, you would experience some downshifting, even though the derailleur doesn't move and you didn't do anything with the shifter. So what's important, very important here, is to find out what distance between the upper pulley and the sprocket would work the best for you. Because when I'm using this bolt, let me just show you this. I'm unscrewing it and look what happens to the derailleur. As you can see, the pulley goes down. Now, what's the best distance between those two? On each derailleur you will have some information about it in manual. Usually it's not really much. On some Campagnolo road bikes I would use even less distance than Campagnolo say, but here I decided to do even a bit more, especially that the chain is new and it's quite stiff, and sometimes I would feel that upshifting from the second to the first gear feels quite stiff, like I was already almost, you know, pushing against this sprocket. So when I made this distance a bit further, a bit bigger, a bit larger, I feel like my upshifting from the second to the first gear is more crisp. It didn't affect any shifting on the cassette, but only from second to the first gear. I think that's basically it. If your derailleur hanger is straight, if your cables are quite good, quite okay, not really dirty, all those things that I've showed you should allow you to do very nice tune-up. And maybe one thing more, if you're not able to do it like perfect, I would say that you wanna have the downshifting made easier than the upshifting. Why is it so? It's because we are upshifting with the force of our fingers and downshifting only with the force of this spring here, derailleur spring. So when I'm upshifting, I can always shift or push a bit further, use a bit more force, and there will be no problems with upshifting. But when I'm downshifting, that's only the derailleur that does the job. So if the drivetrain is worn out a bit, or you have some dirt on the cables are not so new, but you don't want to replace them just yet, remember that you want to have the downshifting tuned up, more crisp, and upshifting you can always help yourself a bit more with the force of your finger. So I think that's all the rules that you really need in order to tune up your bike and be happy with the shifting, because it's super important for us. If you like this, give me some thumbs up. If you have any suggestion on what would you like to see in terms of the bike maintenance, let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and thanks for your support. I will see you just in maybe 8 hours. Bye bye.